Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another NFL tier list video. And in today's video, we're ranking all the starting quarterbacks heading into the 2024 season. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first quarterback up is Aiden O'Connell. We haven't seen enough of him because he was a rookie last year, but from what we did see, he isn't the greatest quarterback, but I would put him at C. Anthony Richardson. I don't think we really saw enough of him last year to really see if he's going to be good. But the games we did see him play for the Colts, he did really well in most of them. I think he only played for about 4 games last season, but in those 4 games, he performed really well. I think he got a total of 8 touchdowns. He got 4 passing touchdowns and 4 rushing in 4 games. Which, that's not the greatest. I think we'll put him at the top of C. I think if we get to see him at his full potential and see him play, I think he'll be at the top of A and maybe almost an S tier quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, going into the season, he's an S. Just because of his career so far. And I don't think he's going to be the only one in this tier. Baker Mayfield. I think he's a really strong B quarterback. I think last year, he proved that he's the starting quarterback for the Buccaneers. And I'm finally glad the Buccaneers have at least someone at quarterback. I know we just had Tom Brady, but before Tom Brady and now Baker Mayfield, we didn't really have anybody. We had Jameis Winston, but come on. His 5,000-yard season was when he threw 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Now, next up on the list, we have Bo Nix. And since he's a rookie quarterback, I don't think it would be fair to put him with the rest of the quarterbacks because we haven't seen him start in the NFL. So we're going to put him in his own category along with all the other rookie quarterbacks. Now, with Brock Purdy, I did plan on putting him in A, but I think to be on the safe side, we're going to put him in B. Because honestly, we still haven't seen enough of him. And to really see if he does actually stand out, his team needs to be a level less stacked. Bryce Young, I'm sorry man, but you gotta be the first D. I know he didn't have any help last year, but don't get me wrong. This year, I think he'll arguably be around here. He now has Dave Canales, who has helped Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield revitalize their careers. He's got 2 more wide receivers. He has Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson, and now Xavier Legette. And they did get better on their offensive line a little bit. Okay, Caleb Williams. In my opinion, he still needs to get that maturity, but every rookie quarterback has that immaturity with them when they come into the league. It's just that I think some of the stuff he says, he's a little arrogant. Like he thinks he's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. If he wants to lead his team, he needs to mature quite a bit. But I do think he has the skills to be really good. And he also has the team. CJ Stroud. I would say he's at a strong B. I would put him in A tier, but it's like, dude, it's 1 season. You can't tell anything based off 1 season. But I do think CJ Stroud is going to take the Texans very far this year. And the Texans also got a lot better than they were last year. Dak Prescott. I think he's a strong B, to be honest. I don't think he's as bad as everyone likes to say he is. He definitely had a really good season last year. And if you could have that Dak every year, he could easily be an A tier. Daniel Jones. Honestly, I either got to put him in D or C. I think we'll put Daniel Jones in D tier. But honestly, do I think he's as bad as some people like to say he is? No. This year he did pretty awful, but there was no one to defend him at all. So where he's going to be lying at isn't really his fault, to be honest. He's had offensive coordinators that were not good. His defense has been trash, but you can't just keep on making excuses for him. Part of it is his own fault. Obviously, yes, Daniel Jones really has never had any good wide receivers either. The only player he had for the longest time was literally Saquon Barkley. And then he had Darren Waller. And we all know how that went. But you know what? I am feeling a little bit generous because when Daniel Jones is really good, he's pretty good. So I'll put him in C tier. Derek Carr is, in my opinion, a definition of a C tier quarterback. He's not going to really lose you games, but I don't think he's going to win you many either. I don't need to explain myself why Deshaun Watson's in F tier. Drake May, rookie quarterback. Geno is definitely a C tier. He's definitely at the top of it. Jalen Hurts, I am going to put him in B. I don't think he's as good as everyone likes to say he is, but he is still pretty good. He got them to the playoffs almost every year, and he got them to the Super Bowl. Them falling apart might have been on him, but for the most part, I think it's on Nick Sirianni. And I don't know how Jason Kelce leaving is going to pan out for them, because Jason Kelce is part of the reason why the tush push worked so well. Another thing I don't understand, how is Jalen Hurts not throwing more than 4,000 every season? Like, hello? He has Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Nick Sirianni must not be that good of a head coach if he's literally making Jalen Hurts just run or hand the ball off to their running back. That's not a good game plan to have when you have two #1 wide receivers. Honestly, I think we should put CJ and Brock Purdy at the bottom of this because they just haven't honestly shown enough. Jared Goff, I think he's honestly at the top of B. I think he's good. I really do like Jared Goff, and I do think he gets a little bit too much flack. He still isn't honestly the greatest quarterback. He'll win you games, but he needs to prove he can do it in the big game. A lot of quarterbacks do. How many of these quarterbacks need to prove they can do it in the big game? Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy. Those three have lost Super Bowls. Like, winning has to mean something. Obviously, not all the time do Super Bowls matter. Like with LaShawn McCoy. 2 seasons he won a Super Bowl, he was not good at all. When he won the Chiefs and Bucks Super Bowls, he was not good those seasons. He wasn't even the main running back. My point being with all this is that Super Bowls don't always mean everything. Sometimes they help complement a dude's career, but sometimes those Super Bowl performances aren't that good. Now let's go on to Jaden Daniels. Honestly, I think Jaden Daniels will do like the best out of almost all the rookies. He reminds me of Lamar Jackson and Robert Griffin III, which, being compared to Robert Griffin III, might not be the best comparison because of the injuries he had. But if Robert Griffin III didn't get injured, dude, he would have been phenomenal. He was the seasons he was healthy. J.J. McCarthy, I think he'll be down here. I don't really see him doing the greatest. Joe Burrow, A tier. Honestly, there's not much argument for that. He's one of the only quarterbacks right now that could beat Patrick Mahomes. Jordan Love, I would put him in A tier, but I think I'm going to stick him where Brock Purdy and CJ Stroud are. We just haven't seen enough of him for me to put him at A or S. These could very well be their only good seasons they ever have. But you never know. They might be really good next year. And honestly, I don't think their good seasons are flukes. Josh Allen. I honestly have to put him over Joe Burrow. He's had the most touchdowns the last 3 years. And don't tell me he's the biggest disappointment the Bills have ever seen. Because the Bills have had heartbreak before. It was Jim Kelly. They made 4 Super Bowls in a row and lost. I'm sorry, Bills fans. I didn't want to remind you of that, and I'm sorry. I think Josh Allen's really good, and I do think people trash on him a little too much. And now, another dude I freaking don't understand why there's so much hate for is Justin Herbert. I genuinely don't get that. This year is a big proof a year for Justin Herbert, though. I think he's good, but I don't know, maybe those could all be phony numbers or a fluke. And I know when he had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Austin Eckler, you expect him to do amazing. But it's like, dude, that defense falls short too. That defense should not be performing as bad as they have been. It's a travesty how bad that defense has been playing. I hope Jim Harbaugh can turn his team around. If there's any year for Justin Herbert to prove he's their guy, it's now. Kirk Cousins, B tier. Honestly, maybe even A. Nah, let's just put him in B. Let's be realistic. If I'm putting these dudes at B, and they've actually made it to a Super Bowl, we gotta talk about Kirk Cousins then, and put him in B. And I really like Kirk Cousins. I think he's done really good. But honestly, this year, I don't know about Kirk. Going into it, I think he's still pretty good. But it's still going to be a little hard for him to be back at 100% in my opinion. But I do think Kirk has been doing really well. And now Kyler Murray, I really want to put him at A or B. I really do. I think he's really good. He is a game changer for the Cardinals. He's a very important piece to that team. He just needs to not play Call of Duty for one day. What do you think college football 2025 is going to do to him? Lamar Jackson, A tier. His problem is just being injured. Yes, I know he hasn't had the best passing stats, but dude, he has had no wide receivers. I'm sorry, you can't tell me Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar are like S-tier wide receivers. All the Ravens need to do is be healthy next year. And now they got Derrick Henry. So guess what that means? Lamar doesn't need to run for 1,000 yards anymore. You know what that means? The Ravens can do? They can focus on Lamar throwing the ball. Of course, he wouldn't have the best passing yards when he has no one to throw to. Matthew Stafford is an A. Yeah, I know he hasn't won a lot of big games and honestly has had some really good wide receivers and players around him his whole career, but still won the Super Bowl his first time on another team. Okay, Patrick Mahomes, I think we already knew where this was going. He was S tier. You already knew it from the start. There can't be an NFL list in the modern era without you putting Patrick Mahomes at like the tippity top. There's just not. He's won 3 Super Bowls. The last 2, he's had bottom of the barrel, trash can, offensive weapons, except Travis Kelce. Yes, he did have Tyreek Hill before that, and I can't argue with that. And Travis didn't perform that well last year. For like 8 games last year, I was like, what the heck is Travis Kelce doing? I do like the Chiefs, but honestly, can we please have another quarterback win a Super Bowl? Okay, Russell Wilson, I'm sorry, he has to be at the top of B. Last year was not a bad season for him, and that was not his fault the Broncos were doing that bad. He had Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and Marvin Mims, and Javonte Williams. Who's doing good with those weapons? But the season before that, yeah, Russell Wilson was trash. I gotta give everyone that. He was pretty bad. That season is a big reason why no one believes in him anymore. Okay, Trevor Lawrence still hasn't proven enough. This is his prove it year, and rightfully so. He just got frickin' paid. You think he deserves those $60 million? No, sir, he did not. I do think he is good, but he still should have done better with that team he had last year. Tua, let's put him at B. He's got to be around where Dak is, dude. Tua is good, but he needs to prove it. He needs to do as good as he did last year. Will Levis, I think he's pretty much in the same boat as Anthony Richardson. He needs to prove it next year. Well guys, that pretty much wraps up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comments below if you want some more of this. But anyways guys, I will see you guys in the next one, and peace out.